Flyers fans, listen up. We all know the big names: Matvei Michkov, Oliver Bonk, Jet Luchenko, and now Porter Martone. But what if I told you the Flyers' future may also hinge on players you barely ever hear about? Today, we're diving deep into three underrated prospects in the Philadelphia Flyers system. These guys might not make headlines, but they're quietly building resumes that scream NHL impact down the road. So buckle in. We're talking full breakdowns on each player, and by the end, you'll know why these names deserve just as much hype as the so-called stars. First, let's start with Jack Berglin. A 6'2" Swedish center, he's become one of the Flyers' more overlooked prospects. Drafted in 2024's second round, Berglin hasn't carried the buzz of a Porter Martone or Jet Luchenko. Instead, he's quietly developing in Sweden's junior and pro leagues. So what stands out? His size, his hockey IQ, and his ability to play in all situations. While some see him as a long shot, Flyers scouts have consistently noted his defensive awareness and maturity beyond his years. He may not post highlight reel plays, although that seems to be changing, but every team that wins has a Berglin type in the lineup. Typically, for a player of Berglin's height, you don't expect a player to have smooth skating. But that's where he surprises. He has long, powerful strides that make him deceptively fast. His puck handling isn't flashy, but it's efficient. He protects the puck well, making him hard to strip along the boards. He thrives in the cycle game, which would be key for the Flyers under Rick Tocchet. Berglin isn't going to dangle through defenses like Trevor Zegras, but he'll win battles, keep plays alive, and force mistakes from tired defenders. At a young age, Berglin is already trusted in defensive situations in Sweden. Coaches use him late in games, down a goal or protecting a lead. His positioning is sharp, he reads passing lanes, and he's not afraid to block shots. That's why some scouts see him as a future bottom six NHLer with penalty kill responsibilities. What makes him underrated? Players like Berglin don't light up score sheets at 18 or 19, so they fall under the radar. But once they hit North America, their utility and reliability becomes obvious. Think of players like Joel Eriksson Ek or Kalle Järnkrok. They aren't stars, but they're coaches' favorites because they do everything right. Berglin has shades of those guys. He's steady and reliable. He's one of those no-nonsense centers who can stick in the NHL for a decade. His ceiling might not be top line, but his floor is high. The Flyers could use someone like him in their middle six as soon as the 2026-27 season. Berglin hasn't been a name you might see in the top 10 Flyers prospect list, but that might change. He's not flashy, not hyped, and doesn't trend on social media, but he fits the mold of players that championship teams lean on. If the Flyers can develop him properly, he could become one of those unsung heroes, a guy fans appreciate more in hindsight when they realize how many games he quietly helped them win. Next, we have Alex Cernnick, a late-round pick in 2023 who has done nothing but impress in Sweden's Hockey Allsvenskan. At just 5'10" and 180 pounds, he's often overlooked due to his size. But Cernnick has blazing speed and a relentless motor that should translate well to the NHL. Cernnick could be quietly developing into a high-end depth scorer who sneaks up on fans once he's in orange and black. Cernnick's skating is his calling card. He explodes off the first step, and his edge work allows him to cut inside defenders with ease. Flyers fans haven't seen this kind of speed in their prospect pool in years. Combine that with a quick, accurate shot, and you've got a winger who can make something out of nothing. He thrives in transition, the style that fits perfectly with today's NHL. His offense might not be top-line caliber, but he's dangerous every time he touches the puck. While offense is his strength, Cernnick has improved defensively. He pressures puck carriers aggressively and uses his speed to disrupt plays. Still, his defensive game is a work in progress. What's important is his willingness to adapt and work on weaknesses. Coaches value that, especially in players who already bring a unique element. In his case, it's his speed. If he rounds out his game, he could become a strong third-line option with penalty kill usage. Cernnick's game has shades of Jesper Bratt, both underrated, undersized wingers who blossomed into major contributors once given NHL opportunity. Cernnick likely plays out as a middle six winger, but one who can drive play and produce secondary scoring. Every team needs speed to stretch defenses, and he could become that guy for the Flyers. The reason Cernnick is overlooked is simple. He wasn't a top draft pick, and his numbers in Sweden don't blow fans away. But when you adjust for league, age, and ice time, his production is actually very impressive. He consistently put up better rates than many prospects who later became NHL regulars. The Flyers might have found a hidden gem in Cernnick, a player who can play fast, play smart, and surprise people when he finally gets to North America again. And thirdly, we have Spencer Gil, a defenseman out of the QMJHL. He's the definition of an underrated prospect. Drafted 59th in the 2024 second round, Gil doesn't get the spotlight of an Oliver Bonk. But at 6'4 with a right handed shot, he brings rare tools. His raw skill set, size, skating, and reach makes him a player worth keeping tabs on. He's the kind of late round pick that can turn into a steal with patience and development. For a big defenseman, Gil moves well. His stride is a little raw, but the mechanics are there. He covers ice efficiently, and once he fills out physically, he'll be a force in transition. With the puck, he's calm under pressure. His breakout passes are smart, and he's shown flashes of offensive upside on the power play. He's not a high-octane offensive defenseman, but his vision suggests he can contribute at both ends. At his size, Gil naturally brings reach and physicality. He disrupts plays with his stick, separates players from the puck, and leans on opponents along the boards. He's still learning to use his body consistently, but the tools are there. And if he develops the mean streak coaches love, he could become a very effective shutdown option. The Flyers love players who can combine size and mobility, and Gil checks both those boxes. Think of someone like Brett Pesce or Justin Braun. These guys aren't stars, but they're reliable, steady defenders who log tough minutes. Gil has that kind of profile. Maybe a number 4 defenseman who plays 20 minutes a night and kills penalties. That's not flashy, but it's exactly the kind of player teams need to win. And given his development curve, he's likely 3 to 4 years away, but he's one of those guys who could pop later. Gil doesn't get the hype because he's a late second-round pick from the Q, and his numbers don't scream star. But defensemen often take longer to develop, and his toolkit is too strong to ignore. Flyers fans might not talk about him now, but a couple years down the line, don't be surprised if Spencer Gil is playing meaningful NHL minutes while other hyped prospects fade out. He's a project, but one with real payoff potential. So there you have it. Jack Berglin, Alex Cernnick, and Spencer Gil. 3 names you don't see plastered all over the Flyers prospect rankings, but 3 names that could have a real impact on the Flyers' future. Not every piece of a cup contender is a first rounder or a flashy skill guy. Sometimes it's the reliable defensive center, the speedy depth winger, or the big shutdown defenseman who makes the difference. And that's exactly why these guys deserve more love. Flyers fans, keep these names in mind because when the rebuild turns the corner, don't be surprised if Berglin, Cernnick, and Gil are right there helping push this team forward. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe for more Flyers content, and drop in the comments which underrated prospect you think will surprise us the most. Until next time, don't forget to keep it high, keep it wide, and we'll see you next time on HW Hockey.